When Nola found the scarf, it was unmistakable. She had tried to ignore the signs for so long, late nights, empty promises, and whispers behind closed doors, but now the evidence was staring her in the face. The scarf was soft, finely made, and it reeked of another woman's scent. The sight of it made her heart twist in betrayal. Her hands trembled as she held the scarf in her hands, her mind racing. The anger started slow, a simmering ache in her chest, but it quickly grew into something fiery, something unstoppable. She had given Ikin everything. Her love, her trust, her heart. And this was how he repaid her. It was unbearable. The small town was known for the unloyal men. The women that knew about their cheating husband never spoke about it, either from fear or shame. But Nola knew she could not withstand the thought of it. Her breath quickened, and before she knew it, she was confronting him. Ikin stood at the door, having just returned from one of his usual late-night outings, when he saw the scarf in her hands. His eyes widened, but only for a moment. "How dare you bring another woman into our marital home?" she asked angrily.
"It's not what you think,"
he said, his voice defensive, his usual charm nowhere to be found. But Nola wasn't fooled anymore. She had ignored the signs for too long. The conversation soon became heated, and before she knew it, Nola was packing her bags, threatening to leave. Ikin was not having that, and he stood in her way, blocking her.
"You can't just leave like this. Do you wish to embarrass me in front of the entire town?"
Nola was furious that that was his only concern and was determined to leave. In an attempt to push past Ikin and walk away, his anger was fueled even more. He pushed her away violently in a fit of rage. The force was enough to make her stumble back, and her head collided with the sharp edge of the table. The world spun, and everything went dark. Ikin, thinking she was pretending to be passed out, called out to her a few times before reality of what he has done set in. He knew he had to move fast to save himself. Without hesitation, he peered outside to confirm it was truly dark and no one was in sight. He then dragged her body, taking along with him a shovel, as he left the house and walked towards the forest, finding the perfect spot. He dug a hole deep in the ground and threw her body in. "Good riddance," he thought to himself. But Nola's story did not end there. When Nola's spirit left her body, she found herself in an otherworldly realm, one of mist and shimmering light. Before her stood a goddess, calm and commanding, her presence both soothing and terrifying. She was the goddess protecting their town. She had taken pity on her innocent and betrayed soul and knew Nola deserved a second chance at life. "I know your pain, Nola," the goddess spoke, her voice soft yet filled with power. "You have suffered greatly at the hands of the one you loved. The injustice of it cannot be ignored. I will give you another chance at life. Live and cherish it away from this place." Nola considered it for a moment but knew that was not what she wanted. Her anger flared once again, as though the injustice of her death had only deepened. "I want revenge," she said, her voice steady. "I want him to feel the betrayal I felt. All of it. I want to take his pride, his power. Let him understand what it's like to lose everything." The goddess studied Nola for a long moment, then nodded solemnly. "Very well. I shall give you that which you desire, but remember, revenge is a double-edged sword." And with that, she sent Nola back with the promise of revenge. Nola returned to the mortal realm, no longer the woman she had been. Her beauty was otherworldly now, radiant and haunting. Weeks turned into months as she prepared herself before she finally walked into the small town under the guise of seeking shelter. The people welcomed her openly, unaware of what was about to befall them. She instantly started drawing the attention of every man who laid eyes on her. When she was done with Ikin, she would dish out justice to all the women of the town and punish the men for their infidelity. Nola didn't speak much at first, simply making her way to the village's popular drinking spot, where the men gathered each night to boast about their infidelities, drink, and laugh at the wives they betrayed. She sat at a table alone, her eyes scanning the room with a quiet confidence. The men noticed her immediately, their eyes locked on her as if they couldn't look away. Curiosity buzzed in the air. It wasn't just her beauty, they couldn't understand why she felt so different. She was like a force of nature, pulling them in without even trying. One by one, they approached her, offering drinks and conversation, eager to win her favor. She accepted their offers but said little, keeping them intrigued. Slowly, her presence at the drinking spot became regular. Nola would come by each evening, a quiet force who only needed to be there to draw their attention. She'd sip her wine, listen to their boasts, and let them flirt with her, each of them growing more obsessed with her. But her target remained Ikin. Her revenge was going to be easy. He couldn't stay away from her. She was an enigma, a woman who burned with an allure he couldn't resist. Every time he looked at her, he felt his heart race. Every laugh, every glance, every smile sent shivers down his spine. He had never been one to let a beautiful woman slip through his fingers, and Nola, she was the kind of woman who made him forget everything else. One evening, after a few too many drinks, Ikin approached her. He smiled, his charm in full swing, but Nola just stared at him, her gaze cool and calculating. "You're quite the charming one, aren't you?" Nola said, her voice soft but commanding. Ikin laughed, clearly pleased by the attention. "I do try," he replied. "But it seems like you're the real mystery around here. Why are you all over me? Do you not have a wife?" she asked, smiling gently. Okafor, a friend of Ikin who was close by listening to the cut-in. His bastard wife stole all his money and left him. He is single now. Thank God she didn't take more than that, he said, and Nola smiled as fury burned underneath. The conversation continued between them and she knew Ikin was already wrapped around her finger. The night ended with Ikin following Nola back to her small house. What happened next, he couldn't quite remember. All he knew was that he woke up feeling different. He returned to his heart feeling hollow. He felt nothing. The thing that had once made him proud, the thing that had defined him as a man, was gone. He soon found out that he could no longer perform. His body betrayed him, and he was devastated. But this was only the beginning. Soon he began to lose control of his body, he could no longer move like he wanted. The changes were painfully slow, and one morning he could no longer move. The news spread fast and he was taken to the town healer, who revealed there was nothing he could do to help. His life became one dependent on people to help him with things he used to perform on his own. But Nola did not stop there. She gave the town a few days to recover before she struck again. The men, unaware of what they were dealing with, still flocked to her uncontrollable, and when they returned home to their wives, acted like all was fine. Over the following days, more men from the village fell under Nola's spell. Each of them returned home to their wives after their deed, but none of them could perform. Their once proud manhoods had been stripped from them, taken by Nola in the most humiliating of ways. Whispers spread through the village, and the women began to put the pieces together. It was revealed that the men were under a curse. What was not revealed was the men willingly slept with another woman outside their marriage to make it happen. The entire town gathered one night and decided it was time to make her undo her curse and chase her out of their town. They marched to Nola's hut, ready to confront her. Their faces were full of anger as they demanded to know what she had done to their husbands. Nola stood before them with confidence and heard all their angry confrontation, waiting for the right moment to speak. "You should all be grateful," she said finally, as she revealed the men's secret in front of them all. How they lie about leaving town for work when instead they were busy sleeping around with everyone, how they kept their wives in the dark and treated them like they were unimportant, and lastly, she revealed there was nothing truth about Ikin and the body he buried. They were all silent for a moment, shocked. But as the truth settled in, they realized she was right. Their husbands had been unfaithful for so long, treating them like fools. Nola had taken something from them, yes, but she had given the wives something too, the power to demand respect. The men, humiliated and broken, returned to their wives, begging for forgiveness. And though their pride had been stripped from them, they knew they had learned a painful lesson. After the town left, Nola knew her time in the human realm was coming to an end. She chose revenge over a new life, and now she neither belonged to the human world, nor did she belong to the afterlife. Her spirit continued to roam around endlessly, not finding peace or solace for many more years to come. Yes, she got her revenge and taught the men a lesson they would never forget, but she also lost her own peace. Her revenge truly came with a price. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories.